Inside Out came out in 2015 and was an instant hit, a creative splash, a timeless classic from Pixar. And I'm here to explain why it doesn't make sense. The world of Inside Out is incredibly fun and creative, with 2 movies now of emotions going through control freak phases. The setting itself is in modern day San Francisco, and unlike, say, another Pixar franchise with fan theories around it, it's very well explained and easy to follow. However, if you delve into the little details of the world, we come up with some questions. In the movies, the emotions use a giant screen to project Riley's thoughts, see her vision, and manipulate her actions. But what did they do before screens existed? Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. How did Abraham Lincoln's emotions see his stuff? Was it like a window instead of a screen? How did they project the emotions? How did they suck up the orbs and transport them before vacuums existed? Was it like a levy and pulley system type deal? What about the train of thought? Trains didn't exist before 1700. How did Isaac Newton keep track of his metaphorical train of thought without real trains to transport them? Did he have like a horse carriage carrying his thoughts? Speaking of Newton, what makes someone more smart or stupid in the Inside Out universe? I'm not here to make a nature versus nurture argument in terms of teaching people, but I think we can all agree some people are just really smart in certain areas. So how did Newton invent calculus in the Inside Out universe? Were his emotions just better like that? Was he born and his joy was like, yes, jolly good, exquisite? Did his emotions have the light bulb feature? You know, where they stick a light bulb in that little compartment thingy? Was there an idea labeled derivatives? Integrals? How did those ideas get there anyway? The emotions just have a stack of light bulb ideas sitting there in the back. Do they make them? Does the human brain make them? Also, light bulbs were invented in the 1800s. So how did George Washington come up with the idea of revolting against the British? How did Thomas Edison come up with the idea of making a light bulb? That's some chicken or the egg type shit. When Riley takes antidepressants, what happens to sadness? Does she just like get Thanos snapped? Joy, what's happening to me? Now, let's look at memory. Whenever we see the memory archives from a bird's eye view, we actually see the shelves are shaped like brain cell layers, which is pretty creative in my opinion. I would like to know though, why our brains throw out all the memories from when we're 4 or younger? Like, why do those little idiots throw out all our baby memories? Like, that is not necessary. There's plenty of shelf over there. I do also want to mention that in the first movie, there's like this cloud town that they go through. And I don't even remember why they did this. But Bing Bong runs through one of the cloud people and they disappear. And it's later confirmed that person was murdered. Like, they're dead. I get that it was all for a "forget it, Jake, it's Chinatown" reference. But this introduces so many problems with the inner workings of the justice system in Riley's head. Why is murder just waved off like that? In fact, who are these police officers? Who do they serve? It's clearly not the emotions themselves, because they repeatedly get arrested by the officers throughout the 2 movies. So who do they serve under? Is there a police warden? Is there a government? What even are they? Are they amoeba? Are they cells? When Anxiety pulls up her little mini computer from a whole slot, Joy says, I was using that as a cup holder. So they drink and eat? Anxiety drinks energy drinks. So caffeine affects her bloodstream? Actually, we see one of the construction workers across the sarcasm eating a sandwich. How? Where is the grain harvested, the lettuce grown, the animal butchered? What Riley mind animal was slaughtered to make this lunch meat? How is this sandwich in existence? What about the glass orbs themselves? Glass was made in what, 2000 BCE? So how did the ancient Egyptians do it? Did they have like rocks as their memories? Like a little red rock for an angry emotion with a little stick figure drawing of the event? How do blind people function in this universe? Are the emotions themselves blind? Or do they just not get a monitor at all? I don't recall the emotions having access to Riley's sense of touch or smell, so are their hands just kind of tied if they can't see? There is this one theory around Inside Out that discusses if the emotions themselves have emotions. Because we have instances where like joy is angry or joy is sad or disgust is happy. So do they also have 5, or I guess now 10 emotions inside each of them, controlling them, with 10 emotions inside of them, and so on and so on and so forth, and I guess until infinity? Now, to be honest, I don't think that's a very interesting or well-layered theory, because the movies would just be boring if they weren't well fleshed out characters. For the most part, the emotions are their primary feeling and rarely divert. Because let's just say hypothetically we're true. Anger's anger emotion would be like a ruthless dictator in his head that constantly has control. And every once in a while, his joy emotion could come in, like hit one button, and it would go back to anger hogging the control panel. So no, I don't really buy into that theory, although it would explain how the emotions have dreams when they sleep, which is something we learn in the second movie. Might I also acknowledge that right as Riley is born, so is Joy, and she has the capability to speak at the ripe age of 0. How is that possible? Does the ability to speak transfer from her father and mother to Joy when she's conceived? By the way, do the sperm cells also have emotions? Point is, there are manuals that depict how the inner workings of the brain work. So there is some knowledge that the emotions are not granted from birth. But how? Who wrote the manuals? Was it passed over from her parents? Was it those little amoeba guys with glasses? Was Riley really never bored before Inside Out 2? Like, was she really just locked in on vibes for 13 years? Did Joy really have this girl poppin' for 13 whole years without a dull moment? Was she also never embarrassed for 13 years? Like, good on you, girl, honestly. Like actually, self-confidence, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could have grown up the majority of my middle school without embarrassment, just vibes. I just realized this. How many of the emotions are literally one of the 7 deadly sins? You got wrath, sloth, and envy. Bruh, like imagine if Riley turns 16 and she unlocks horny, greedy, gluttony, and pride. That would actually be a crazy uphill battle for Joy, having to go against 20 different negative emotions. Although, I guess pride could team up with Joy. You know, I guess horny could be a good emotion too. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's not so bad. So overall, Pixar took a ton of liberties with Inside Out. Like, you know, maybe we'll never know where the manuals came from, or how Isaac Newton was able to keep his metaphorical train of thought running, or how Thomas Edison got the idea to make a light bulb. But you know what? Such is the price for a wacky, creative, fun kids movie. And I'm glad that even though I'm able to nitpick stuff, at a base level, it does make sense. Unlike the Cars universe, which genuinely does not make sense if you think about it for more than like 4 seconds. But anyway, thanks for listening to me yap. I'm gonna see y'all, and bye.